done like ever. And when I did that, that was because for a while I really kind of had Rob Zombie's kind of tied with maybe part 1, but I hadn't seen H2O or Resurrection in a really long time at the time. They were very lost in my mind.
8's still at the very bottom. I don't care where everybody else's standings are. That's a firm blast for me.
Well, I don't blame you, and I understand why people do that. Why people feel that way.
If Tina was in Halloween H2O, it would be number 1 from Halloween 5.
It would be number 1. It would be a more interesting movie. Which, by the way, I just watched that yesterday.
Tina's the best.
Mark, didn't you have like a thesis in defense of Tina?
Yeah.
It's ongoing.
Was that with your earlier pod with Adam at some point?
Yeah. You guys see John. So y'all, this is the podcast, but right now I'm looking at Adam, just looking so annoyed, not annoyed, but just tired, because he has dealt with so much of my Tina business.
I mean, it's like the legend is more exacerbating than the reality, right? Like, she's not even that big of a deal or annoying in the movie. She's just not Rachel, right? Rachel. Everybody loved Rachel.
You know what's funny is that this is a lot, Mark, like how people have like pages of fan fiction and whole like 1,000-word long Reddit arguments about like a single character you see for 1.5 seconds in the cantina scene in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And like how you get into like a 20-minute discussion about Michael's drive that happens over the course of a 90-second montage in a movie.
It's weird. I've connected with some weird characters recently. Tina from Halloween 5, Matthew Lillard from Hackers as serial killer, and then I also connected with Pauly Shore's character from Encino Man for some reason. I'm like, really?
Which is very Matthew Lillard from Hackers.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it is.
Weird. I just connect
Matthew Lillard in general.
Just messed up kids, I guess I connect to. But hey, how about, so one thing I do like about this movie is let's talk about the opening kill, and how, I think the opening of this movie, it sets up the kind of kids' tones, but it brings back Marion, right? And kills her. She gets her car stolen again. But it also, I don't know.
Back in the new movie. She's back from the dead.
Jeez Louise. But I love how it plays out, right? She goes into her house. I'm not messing with this. She goes to her near-do-well neighbors. They go over to the house. There's nothing there. He steals some beers.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt goes.
Looking tough with his Jason Max. Nice Steve Miner callback.
Yeah, nice Steve Miner. That wasn't his first big movie, was it?
No, Angels in the Outfield was way before this, yeah.
Oh, I don't know why I keep feeling like I saw it introducing, but you're right. Actually, that was for Josh Hartnett. Never mind. So go in.
I just love it when you're watching it. He goes in, steals the beer. You kind of like these kids. Actually, you're like, well, he's a punk, but he goes in there, and then she goes back into her house. I mean, it's not the smartest thing to do, but
it's like, wonderful justification for the exposition, right? You get that glorious, torn up room with Loomis's photo. It's acknowledging the past. It's saying, "Hey, remember this?" And everybody remembers that. Who hasn't seen the first movie and doesn't remember Dr. Loomis? Mm-hmm. So he's not with us anymore, but just the score starts to creep in. It's wonderful.
And it was 50s music, I think. Yeah. You had instead of the more harrowing pumpkin scenes from the earlier movies, this was a more playful stab of pumpkin to start opening it during the bum 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 bum. So you get this whole lighter vibe, and I think it goes into that teen 90s vibe, because this Michael Myers is not. Well, I realize it's a different timeline, but he's not as mean as the 145 curse timeline. This is a slightly more human. This is a less dire, a less dark. He's still dire and dark, but he's just, I'm turning him down a couple notches.
He feels less brutal, I will say that. I agree with you there. I do think he's more cat-like, which I like, and we can go into later, but he does feel more playful in a way, like doing this, picking off somebody else, a lot more of those playful stares, and the way he walks.
Mm-hmm.
And also he's humanized in that we see his eyes a lot.
Do we see them? I know we see them at the.
No, we see them in 6 scenes.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah.
We see his eyes every time you are close enough to see someone's eyes through a mask. You see his eyes.
Now there's a story Mark can work on, because as we all are familiar, what were there 5 or 6 masks used for this movie?
Mm-hmm.
One of them's really obvious in the kitchen scene. It has like the cheekbones,
CGI.
like someone used like charcoal to cheekbone him.
Oh, it was completely CGI. That mask.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, all CGI. Yeah.
Complete.
Oh, I thought they just charcoaled them. Okay.
There were a lot of behind the scenes fights on this because they couldn't find the same mask, right? Because the same mask has been so. I mean, what would it even look like? He's been wearing it for 20. How stinky would it be? But yeah, so they couldn't get it, so they made a mask. They shot with it. The Weinsteins didn't like it.
Miner just wanted it to be featureless. So he was in favor of that. Really, I think it was a Don Post, really smooth one, and I think most people hate that one, but I think that's what he wanted. Miner did. Yeah,
he wanted that, and then there were problems, and they had to go back and reshoot it. You'll see in a lot of films where they like scenes where they add. There's different like. He'll be wrestling with Josh Hartnett, then you cut to him, it's a different mask.
Right. Yep.
But yeah, so they did a bunch of reshoots for that. And it cost some money, too, to do that. It's just... Okay, I've been reading a lot about this movie, guys, and did clearly it did, but watching this movie, the masks have never bothered me. It seems like for some people, it's wrecked their life. Like, it's like eating a delicious steak, right?
Yeah.
What?
I think once you notice it, it takes you out of it.
Oh, got it.
For me, it was just that kitchen scene, or I should say, only one shot of the kitchen scene when he approaches the horny kid who was who was fishing in the garbage disposal. That one like 5 seconds, I'm like, what is going on with that mask?
And his throat corkscrewed.
It makes me wonder what they used under that CGI composite that they couldn't just bear to sit with. But yeah, I mean, they used the Halloween 6 mask, which I love that one. That's just me. In the scene, Mark, you were referring to with the opening kills when he's coming out of the corner. And then after that, you never see it again, which, whatever. It's just funny because between the masks and the music, this movie, I think we all agree, is really cool. We love it. The masks are completely just all over the place. And the music, especially, aside from that opening bit by John Ottman with, the sweeping orchestral score, and it's recounting the news clips. And it's really cool. I love that theme. His original score for this movie was famously just awkward. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to listen to it, but it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit at all.
Yeah, I heard him talking about it.
I mean,
there was some very uppity music in some of the school, the cutscenes of the school, and they should have been lighter, but it may as well have been a PG-13 rom-com for teens. All of a sudden.
The original score was removed. There's a few slices of it. Like I said, the intro, the newspaper clippings has his work, but I don't remember how much of his is left. The rest is Marco Beltrami, who did a lot of the notes for Scream. But yeah, if you have a chance, it's out there in the wild. I think you can find it on YouTube. It is very strange. I have an open mind, but man, I was listening to it. I was like, yeah, I can see why they rejected this.
It's interesting that this seemed to be like the lighter of what I'll call like movies 3 to 6 or even 2 to 6. Well, this is 3 to 6 or 2 to 6.
Yeah, I would say so.
But also I feel like not counting Carpenter's work in the first 7 movies. So let's throw out part 1 from this comparison. I feel like overall, I'll ignore the score too. This felt a little more proficiently made. I don't know. For some reason, it felt cleaner to me. And of course, Stephen Miner, though, he had a good horror history already.
Right.
He had done House, which was pretty bonkers, but it worked. He had done Friday the 13th, part 2 and 3. I mean, he's the guy who introduced us to Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I think what else? He did Warlock, which was like 88, 89, 90. I love the first Warlock movie.
Placid.
And that was right after this, right?
Yep.
Lake Placid.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he work with Jamie Lee on Forever Young?
Yep. And
he was on that.
She brought him in for this. Jamie Lee wanted him for this. So
that was with Mel Gibson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rod Stewart. Did he do that song for that movie?
I don't think so. I think that song predates that movie by about a decade.
I like the song, but I have to imagine that was before the movie.
This is what I'm going to start doing, guys. If I hear a movie's announced, I'm just going to do a theme song with the name of the movie in the title.
Sure.
And then just try to sell it to them.
I heard that's why they made Dream Warriors, just because Dokken did a song called Dream Warriors. They're like, we should make that a movie. No, wait, it's the other way.
That's the goal. No, but I guess just even with the behind-the-scenes issues, and I have another question for you.
Yeah.
The latest 2018 Halloween, right?
Sure.
It brings back another Loomis that is faux Loomis. It kind of does the beat-by-beat thing of attacking babysitters who I do like her. I like the girl and that little kid. They're the highlight of the 2018 film. But a lot of it feels Jurassic World-esque. A lot of it feels The Force Awakens, where it's a reboot-quel, where it's getting the friend. The beginning, which kind of makes me feel more sour on Halloween 2018. It's a crappy. I was gonna say a penguin. It's a crappy pumpkin, like a rotten pumpkin becoming fresh again.
That bothered me a lot when I saw it. And
I was like, yo, like what?
I've gotten over it, but like something about the lighting is just it seemed like kind of a weird thing.
It's funny. I had a weird reaction too, but to me, it's like it was the opening pumpkin scene of the Halloween movies that made me feel nothing.
Yeah.
In this movie, I was like, oh, this is kind of more feisty. In the other movies, it's a little more, I don't know. You feel cautious as you're watching the slow approach of the camera to a jack-o'-lantern or something, right? It almost feels harrowing because it's very quiet. And then, but 2018, I just kind of sat there like, another pumpkin scene, okay?
Yep. And it's a gross pumpkin becoming fresh again. So what they were saying was, and they talked about it, they wanted to make it seem like the franchise was good again. I'm like, that's kind of a dick move.
Yeah, I got bad news though. They did that after people already did or didn't buy the ticket, so it's not going to make it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, hey guys, look what we're doing. We're making Halloween cool again. It's like, I guess what I like about H2O is it does have the head tilt. It has some of the classic moments of, Michelle Williams looks outside, sees him. That's just a trope. They even do that in the 2018 one, but she looks at Laurie Strode. But I like that they took a retrofitted script and made it a Halloween movie because it didn't have the beat by beat.
It didn't have the onus of being this Halloween movie to start. I think you're right. It works its way up. It creeps up on you, and there's those classy notes involved. But you're not like beat over the head with saying, hey, you're in a Halloween movie again, right? Like you kind of are with the 2018 version. So I do agree with that.
He doesn't escape from jail. He doesn't do this again. It's just him driving across country, and it's 80 minutes long. And this movie's kind of crazy, too. There are kills in it, right? But there's between the first few minutes where Marion puts on a great fight. She actually is a badass.
Sure.
And then when he gets to the campus, there's about an hour of no kills, maybe. I would say 50 minutes. This movie builds towards this movie's like, this is Laurie Strode versus Michael Myers, and we're building towards it with some hip dialogue.
You also get the mother-son stuff, which I think counts.
It works. It works, right?
It does work, yeah. Normally that would be very beleaguered in a horror movie.
Mm-hmm. And Josh Hartnett refused to do his hair on the movie. He wore a ski cap into between takes, so his hair would be messy at all times.
And he was just the same like a year later in The Faculty.
Yeah. He's like, why do I want to look clean cut? But no, I like how it has the patience to build. So when it gets to her walking with an axe towards Michael, I mean, and when do we see this? I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis was in her 40s at the time, and she grabs an axe. She's like jacked out of her mind, and she's just going to go kill her murderous brother. We never see that.
So you called that the most exhilarating, probably, and was that the word you used?
Yes.
Am I channeling that? And I very much agree, because what's funny is that as I'm rewatching this a couple times this week, when she's getting the kids out before she closes and locks the gates and like breaks the electrical box, whatever, so he can't get out. I'm sure he could climb up, but you know what I mean. They're trapped in there together. Two men enter, one man leave. Very Thunderdome. But like I was thinking of things like that. I was thinking of Thunderdome. When she closed the gate, I swear to God, almost like a joke in my head, I heard Hank Williams score when they first see Darth Maul. Like, except she's Darth Maul in this scene. She's walking down the hall menacingly with an axe in one arm, and one of her hands at the side. When she's yelling Michael in the driveway, I swear I thought of Brad Pitt and Troy yelling Hector outside of the city of Troy. Like, I'm recounting things that I love from movies that came out far later that this movie is somehow channeling in me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. It's exhilarating. And what she does to him is very credible. I have no problem swallowing any of it. When she comes at him with a knife, she's like a Tasmanian devil. When she gets him off guard with a fire extinguisher, yeah, he's going to fall for a moment. He gets right back up and she's scrambling away. When she axes him, he immediately stabs her and she scrambles away. Like it works. Like they're not doing any of this stupid stuff where she hits him with a chair and all of a sudden it's like, I don't know, some big dude from Roadhouse did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?